This is my little presentation on education tech access. Just kind of the difference in ed tech between communities and socioeconomic levels. So let's go through. So a couple things. The basics of it, right, is high-speed access. So having your Wi-Fi capabilities. So they can be very different at a school of different areas, and especially in home communities. Some communities are already wired for a higher speed access than a lower speed access. One, because it just costs more, and two, it's just easier to get to. Sometimes they struggle to wire places that are on a lower socioeconomic scale for a bunch of reasons. Either houses are empty or whatnot. Also, the different devices, right? So someone that's using their mom's flip phone opposed to using their mom's iPhone or laptop, things get a little bit more difficult. Incompatibility is a big one as well, right? Certain software only works with certain devices if they're strong enough. And then security, right? That's always a concern when you're working with young students, especially under the age of 13. Because as anybody knows, a student under the age of 13, there's a lot of internet things they cannot do for security reasons. What's the inequity look like now? So we just talked about lack of devices, right? Having a nice computer, laptop, or even a PC, compared to having a cheap phone with spotty service. And software inequity, that's more in line with the different districts. So, certain districts that spend more per student, they have access to just better quality instruction or just quality instruction in general. And then differentiated instruction I put on there because, individualized education has been kind of the big push, the thing that we're talking about. And the reason that we can do that so easily and well right now is because of tech and all the algorithms that we can put in place. But that takes infrastructure, which takes money. And so obviously some school districts lag behind. The informal learning, kind of what we talked about before, right? Having access to the computer, just kind of sitting on there screwing around. There's a big draw to that we don't really talk about. Let's keep moving on. Leveling the playing field. So some things that people are doing. One, buses has been important. So school buses, they've been putting Wi-Fi on school buses, which helps students that don't have a secure internet connection at home. So, right, kids that are racing to do homework before school or after school, having Wi-Fi is pretty important. There's been a lot of draw to single-payer internet access. So every parent of a student in St. Louis Public School District, if say they did a single-payer system where, hey, you can opt in to our thing with Charter or whoever it may be, to kind of get a lower, better rate. And incarcerated juvies, whether they're there until they're 18 or whether they're there for, a year or two or less, if they don't have access to Wi-Fi, well, if they're trying to come back into the system and they haven't had access for 2 years, 2 very formative years, it makes it more difficult. And, that's definitely an issue that we see. The management of the internet services, so just making sure it's accessible and it's up and running properly on a regular basis in the district, is a regular thing. Software, that's another way we can kind of level the playing field. So open licensing, right? So there's big players like McGraw-Hill and Pearson where their software is locked down. You must pay this, and this so often or however it may be. But there is open license software, like ed tech software out there that school districts don't in my opinion, don't take advantage of enough, but that kind of help level the playing field. And in-house development, right? So having an IT team or outsourcing it to a tech firm that you just own the proprietary rights. And so that's especially important with differentiated instruction that you're putting into place. It kind of lasts a little bit longer. So I think that's it's a good goal. That's a good strategy to move forward. Try to cover more areas for students that don't have the correct internet programs at home. So that's everything. Thank you for watching. See you on the message boards.